Hi, I'm Jason Matthews, owner of Matthews Painting Company near Warsaw, Indiana. We continue our tutorial videos that we show each of our new employees who we train to become professional painters. It's been a while since I've started up one of our airless sprayers, but this is one of several units that we have here. But this is probably the most common one we use. It's a little lighter, it's on wheels, it does just have one gun to it, but really we're just going to spend time in this video on how to start up our sprayer once we pull them out of storage. The other video after this one, video number 2, will be how we clean out the unit and then how we store the unit. So since this was stored, this actually has kerosene in the lines. So we put kerosene and or brand new mineral spirits in the lines, and that just keeps the pump lubricated, and then we run that all the way to the gun. So we're going to go ahead first, and we're going to go ahead and take the hose all the way out so it's unraveled. And Bill here is going to help me with that. And you can kind of see him twisting on the end there. You have to do that or else it wants to really get twisted up like that. And then he'll bring that back once all the kinks are out of it. This is a little bit larger gauge of extension cord. So this is a 14 gauge. It's preferable compared to the skinnier extension cords, and they tell you to try to run 50 foot or less. It's better on the pump. I will tell you that will not always happen. But if you've got a larger gauge extension cord and you can do that, it's definitely preferable. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my pressure's down. If we can get a little bit closer here. This is the pressure knob. This is low pressure, this is high pressure. I'm going to make sure that's down, and I'm going to make sure this unit is off. Now you're going to have other units where the switch is in different places as well as the adjustment of pressure. Go ahead and plug it in. Keeping in mind there's kerosene in the lines. You can even see the kerosene kind of dripping out of the pump there a little bit, which does happen. I'm going to go ahead, pop our paint. We have some tint on top of this paint. I would shake this typically, but I'm not worried about that for this demonstration. This is the main siphon tube over here. This draws the paint up, and this is the prime tube. So you take the prime tube off the siphon tube and put it into just a crud bucket, we call this. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the main siphon tube down into the paint. I do like to keep it centered when I can, just so it can draw paint from all directions on the filter. Once we get to that point, I'm going to turn it on down here and come down here and look at my prime to watch what starts to come out. I'm going to slowly turn up pressure with the switch I showed you earlier. It should be clear. That's some of the mineral spirits and or kerosene coming out. There's the paint. I'm going to let that come out for a little bit, about 10 seconds, and I'm going to stop it. So right there, we probably got out 98% of the mineral spirits from the pump and the prime tube. You can see down in there's a little bit of mineral spirits and or kerosene. We're going to put this prime tube back into the paint and or stain, whatever we're actually using on the job. And we're going to turn that up again and do the same exact thing. And notice this is my prime valve and it's straight down still. We don't want it like that. That would pressurize this hose in the gun. We're not going to put paint through here and take the kerosene out quite yet. So I'm going to go ahead, let it run. I don't quite go to half pressure. What's happening now is it's just cycling the paint through the prime tube in case there was just a little bit more mineral spirits or kerosene still in the pump area. So I do that for about maybe 20-30 seconds and I stop it. At this point I'm going to take my prime valve and I'm going to go horizontal with it, okay? If you don't remember that, just remember when you kind of have a point here, that's just kind of shooting one direction or the other, and that reminds me that that's what's going to start taking it out my line. So I'm going to do the same thing I did to my prime tube. I'm going to go ahead and take this guard off. We'll explain these in another video. And before I pull my trigger, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I'm going to want to make sure there's no pressure in this gun, and there shouldn't be, but you'll have cases where there is. So I am going to turn it on, turn the pressure up. And now watch when I switch this horizontal. It'll really start coming out of there. So we want that horizontal. Hopefully you can see down here, there's a bunch of mineral spirits or kerosene coming out. Now if you let up on this, it pressurizes the gun. Don't pull the trigger again. You have to actually turn it off, take the pressure off the gun, then pull the trigger and start over again. Now pretty soon you're going to start seeing the pain or sting come through. There it is. I'm just going to pressure down. I think I was probably turning the unit off more than I needed to. You can also just pressure down like that. Now I'm going to come over into my paint and I'm going to let it run even longer. Why are we doing that? The same thing we did with the prime tube. There's probably still a residual amount of kerosene or mineral spirits in this line, but when you mix it with 5 gallons of product, it's not going to hurt anything because it's so diluted, even in a water-based finish. So I'm going to let that run for a little while. Pressure down, and then I'm going to let off of my gun handle. So at this point, we can go ahead and put back on our guard. I'm going to have Bill, who's behind me, go grab me a tip out of one of our guards, out of one of our containers, not one of our guards. I'm going to get this tip in here. And again, we have other videos to explain these tips. And so now, for spraying purposes, again, this is horizontal. We're all primed. We turn up the unit, about 3/4 pressure, and we test it. That's a real nice fan. Notice it's nice and even across there. Now, if you don't have enough pressure, I want to show you what happens. We're going to go prime valve down to release some pressure. That actually looks okay too. So I'm going to go down a little further. Okay, these are called fingers. And you don't want to see stripes in your spray pattern. It means your pressure is too low and your paint is not atomizing. Even here, you have a lot of concentrated paint. I think you would end up with a lot of runs and sags. So sometimes when you have less pressure, you can actually get more runs. You would think it would be the opposite. So hopefully that helps you understand how to start up an airless sprayer. This one happens to be a Graco Nova 495. I had to look at that. And you do that when there's kerosene or mineral spirits in the line and you're pulling it out of storage. So that's different when you're on the job sites. So we'll kind of show you what you do when you come back the next day. For more information, you can contact us at Matthews Painting, or if you liked what you saw, give us a thumbs up on our YouTube.